These are among the first moving images ever recorded. They were photographed by Thomas Edison using his newly created invention, the kinetograph. It was the prototype for the modern motion picture camera. The scenes were filmed in the mid-1890s at the Black Maria, a simple but ingeniously constructed studio located at Edison's laboratory in West Orange, New Jersey. It was here, inside these modest tar paper and wood frame walls, that the motion picture industry was born. Thomas Edison was a man of enormous vision and astounding ingenuity. And yet, at first, even he did not recognize the value of his great invention, the motion picture. He thought of it as a novelty of limited practical importance. Indeed, many of the earliest Edison films dealt with rather trite subjects. They reflected a lack of understanding as to the possibilities of this new medium. But Edison had on his staff a very talented man named Edwin S. Porter, who took an imaginative and enthusiastic approach to the new medium. One of Porter's most important early productions was The Life of an American Fireman, made in East Orange in 1903. It was a short but action-filled movie about the workings of a city fire department. This was the first film to have interweaving plot lines and demonstrate such techniques as close-ups, flashbacks, dissolves, and inserts, devices that have become part of the basic grammar of film. The Great Train Robbery, made later the same year, was certainly Porter's most famous and successful picture. Filmed on the Erie and Lackawanna Railroad and at the Essex County Park Reservation, this legendary short was the most complex narrative film of its time. It was packed with high drama, hairbreadth escapes, and exciting stunts. And although it was only 11 minutes long, it captivated audiences around the globe and frightened them with its final shot. With an auspicious start, New Jersey quickly became the movie-making capital of the world. Most of the major production companies of the era, Universal, Champion, Eclair, World Pictures, Fox, Selznick, Goldwyn, and others, built studios in the Coatesville section of Fort Lee. As much as 1/3 of the local residents were constantly employed by the studios in some capacity. Another third worked part-time as movie extras or in related service industries. These pioneer film companies were very prolific, and while many of their productions were merely shorts, done quickly and inexpensively, others were big-budget feature-length epics. The producer William Fox built a 60-acre recreation of Paris for the 1918 film Les Miserables and hired 5,000 extras. The tastes of silent-era moviegoers varied widely, but several kinds proved particularly popular. Frantic comedies, shoot-'em-up westerns, and death-defying action serials. The name Mack Sennett is synonymous with silent film comedy. He and his company, Keystone, practically invented slapstick. Even today, his Keystone Cops remain legendary. Sennett began his career in Fort Lee and would soon become one of the most successful producers in Hollywood. Many of the first westerns were made in Bayonne by David and William Horsley's Centaur and Nestor film companies. The town, which was quickly developing, lacked the wide-open spaces and sweeping vistas stereotypical of the West, but unsophisticated audiences didn't seem to mind. And besides, movies like 1911's The Cowboy Pugilist were decidedly lighthearted in tone to begin with. The most famous silent serial was called The Perils of Pauline, and it was filmed right here in Bergen County. Pearl White's exciting stunts from these cliffs gave birth to the term cliffhanger. Many other well-known stars, producers, and directors began their careers in the Garden State. Among them, Douglas Fairbanks, Tallulah Bankhead, Theda Bara, Lionel Barrymore, Lillian and Dorothy Gish, and Mary Pickford. Samuel Goldwyn, Maurice Tourneur, and Raoul Walsh. D.W. Griffith, the master filmmaker of his day, made dozens of movies in New Jersey. By 1914, nearly 90% of all American movies were made in New Jersey. The state's film industry was thriving, and there appeared to be no end in sight. But the end, ironically enough, was right around the corner. In the late teens, producers began a mass exodus to a remote region of California called Hollywood. There, they availed themselves of the state's perpetual sunshine and warmth, inexpensive real estate, and relative freedom from the strict trademark laws in the East.
And as the silent era started to slow fade out, so too did the industry's memory of its own birthplace, right here on the western shore of the Hudson River. Several decades later, filmmaking returned to the Garden State, briefly, but memorably. In 1954, the eminent director Elia Kazan chose Hoboken as the setting for one of the most acclaimed films in cinema history, On the Waterfront.
You don't remember me, do you?
Remember you the first moment I saw you.
By the nose, huh? Well, some people just got faces that stick in your mind.
This gritty, highly charged tale of corruption in the shipping industry won 8 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, made Marlon Brando a star, and contained one of the most famous lines ever spoken on the silver screen.
You should have looked out for me a little bit. You should have taken care of me just a little bit so I wouldn't have to take them dives for the short end money.
Well, I had some bets down for you. You saw some money.
You don't understand. I could have had class. I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody instead of a bum, which is what I am. Let's face it.
It was not until 1977, however, that New Jersey began making meaningful efforts to regain its past movie-making glory. That year, Governor Brendan Byrne and the state legislature created the New Jersey Motion Picture and Television Commission and charged it with promoting on-location filming in the state. The officials had several purposes. Foremost, they wanted to attract new types of industries that would enhance the local economy and create jobs. But they were also concerned about New Jersey's image, which had taken a beating in the hands of comedians, journalists, and travelers passing through on the turnpike. It was hoped that film and television productions would expose many magnificent areas of New Jersey that were virtually unknown to outsiders. And in doing so, tourism was expected to increase, new businesses would be attracted, and New Jersey would be perceived as a highly desirable place in which to live and work. Sidney Kingsley, the Pulitzer Prize-winning playwright, served as the commission's founding chairman. He was soon joined by a board of 10 commissioners from all areas of the entertainment business. Together, they spearheaded initial efforts to lure the film industry back to its birthplace. In 1978, the commission's first full year of operation, New Jersey played host to a number of big-budget, high-profile motion pictures. Voices, an MGM production about a rock musician who falls in love with a deaf woman, was the first major studio feature to be filmed entirely in the state since the silent era. It was set in Hoboken, where stars Michael Ontkean and Amy Irving walked the very same streets as did Marlon Brando, Eva Marie Saint, and Rod Steiger back in the mid-50s. Steiger himself returned to the state in 1978, appearing in one of the more successful films ever to be shot in New Jersey, The Amityville Horror. American International Pictures was denied permission to use the original Long Island house, the one that served as the basis for Jay Anson's best-selling novel. After scouring the East Coast, the the film producers selected a suitable replacement in Tom's River. A little carpentry and movie magic turned the riverfront home into a dead ringer for the original.
Get going! Now, get going!
Woody Allen is known as the quintessential New York filmmaker, but many of his films contain scenes shot in New Jersey. One of the earliest of these, Stardust Memories, was made almost entirely in the Ocean Grove area in 1979.
But you know, the mortality rate in this business is unbelievable.
Yeah, I'll say it is. It's like the Black Plague. Jesus.
I think you're wonderful. Can I have your autograph?
Yeah, I don't want anybody
Me
going
too,
to jazz heaven. That's a nitwit idea. You know, the whole point of the movie is that nobody is saved.
Sandy, this is an Easter film. We don't need a movie by an atheist.
To you, I'm an atheist. To God, I'm the loyal opposition. Jesus.
Oh, you know, I'm your biggest fan.
Oh,
I think you're terrific.
Thank you.
This public adores him.
Yeah, today they adore you, and tomorrow it's one of these. He's paranoid.
I think you're being a little paranoid.
No. You know what I'm being? I'm being realistic. You know, and that's why you don't like the movie.
It's not a matter of what I like. Listen, I've been on this side of the business for 4 years now. Too much reality is not what the people want.
Jazz heaven, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. You can't control life. It doesn't wind up perfectly. Only art you can control. Art and masturbation. 2 areas in which I am an absolute expert.
The very same year, New Jersey played host to one of its most celebrated pictures, Louis Malle's Atlantic City, a rich character study of small-time losers and big-time dreamers, brilliantly captured the famous resort city in the midst of transition. The drama was nominated for 5 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, Burt Lancaster for Best Actor, and Edison, New Jersey native Susan Sarandon for Best Actress.
Teach me stuff.
Like what?
What you know.
You want information or wisdom?
Both.
I'll think about it.
You know, the smartest man in the world was on a quiz show, and he was winning everything under the sun. You know how they finally tripped him up? He knew everything under the sun except his social security number. He could have had the world. What's yours?
I don't have a social security number.
Everybody's got a social security number. You pay income tax?
Nope.
You still got your fingerprints?
Well, sure, I got...
Let me see. Oh, my God, you don't have any fingerprints.
What are you talking about? I got fingerprints, I got lines.
The Jersey Shore continued to be a very popular area for filmmaking in the early 80s. In 1981, Columbia Pictures literally moved into Shadow Lawn Mansion at Monmouth College, transforming it into Daddy Warbucks' estate for the screen version of the Broadway musical Annie. The elaborate production took many weeks to complete and provided the college with a substantial financial contribution for the restoration of the mansion.
Been to the zoo, Miss Farrell?
Not recently, Drake. Has the organ been tuned?
Yes, miss.
Pool heated?
Yes, miss.
Tennis court net up?
Yes, Miss Farrell.
French doors fixed?
Yes, Miss Farrell.
Elevator oil?
Yes, ma'am.
Typewriter repaired?
Yes, miss.
Second teletype installed?
Yes, miss.
Are you allergic to dogs, Drake?
No filth.
Is dinner underway, Mrs. Pugh?
Yes, miss. I'm preparing his favorite. Texas grapefruit, Virginia ham, Idaho potatoes, Wisconsin cheese, Washington apples, and baked Alaska.
I have an announcement to make, everybody. I have an announcement. This is Annie, and she'll be staying with us for a week.
Yes.
And this is her dog, Sandy.
Who'll be staying with me. May I take your sweater, miss? Will I get it back? Of course, miss.
The 1982's Eddie and the Cruisers might be considered the ultimate shore movie. It is rooted in the Jersey Shore rock culture that has produced a unique brand of music and given birth to such popular performers as Southside Johnny, John Bon Jovi, and of course, Bruce Springsteen. John Sayles, another New Jerseyan, has gained a well-deserved reputation as a fiercely independent filmmaker. One of his earliest directorial efforts, Baby It's You, is set in Trenton during the early 1960s, but it was shot largely in his hometown of Hoboken and in the surrounding Hudson County area. Madonna was just becoming a household name in 1984 when she appeared in her first major motion picture, Desperately Seeking Susan. This offbeat comedy features Rosanna Arquette as a bored New Jersey housewife who becomes embroiled in a case of mistaken identity. Tenafly served as the quintessential suburban community sought by director Susan Seidelman. Newark native Brian De Palma returned home in 1985 to film the wild comedy Wise Guys. The movie also featured two other Jersey guys, Asbury Park's Danny DeVito and Wes Caldwell's Joe Piscopo. The MGM production, which lampoons organized crime, required that Ferry Street, in the ironbound section of Newark, be transformed from a Portuguese community to an Italian-American one.
Even money is the ignition, 2 to 1 is the door. Who's on?
Put me down for 2,500 on both. Shit, I can't believe it. $500 on the ignition in 15 seconds. One, two. I hate this job.
Bergen County once again served as prototypical suburbia for the highly regarded Running on Empty. This 1987 production featured moving performances from Judd Hirsch and Christine Lottie as former student radicals on the lam, and from Oscar nominee River Phoenix, who portrayed their son. Renowned director Sidney Lumet utilized locations in Englewood, Tenafly, Dumont, and Alpine.
What's the matter with Dad?
Born Plattsburgh, New York, July 16th, 1944. U.S. citizen. I'm not a... Maiden name is Silkowitz. My father's real name is Popov, Morris Popov. Driver's license number is 435-711. My draft number is MS 893584. My name is Pope.
New Jersey officials have been very eager to accommodate filmmakers. Governor Tom Kean proved it definitively in 1987 when he allowed Warner Brothers to film in the Governor's Beach House at Island Beach State Park. The house served as the main location for the Mark Harmon, Jodie Foster drama Stealing Home, which evoked nostalgic memories of the Jersey Shore you knew as a youngster.
I broke up with him. He had bad breath. There's this lifeguard I like down here. He likes me. I think I'm gonna go out with him this summer. He's got perfect breath. How's your breath? Let's see. That's good. Keep it that way. Last one in has to French kiss my grandfather. It's not gonna be me.
Dream.
The 20th Century Fox comedy Big lived up to its title, proving to be one of the most commercially successful movies ever made in New Jersey. Major portions of the picture were filmed at Palisades Interstate Park, where a full-scale carnival was built in the shadow of the George Washington Bridge.
Good, good. Just like her.
And on the streets of Cliffside Park. "1988 brought a wealth of features to Atlantic City. Cookie, The Lemon Sisters, and Penn and Teller Get Killed. The world-renowned Meadowlands Sports Complex has seen many productions, including Highlander, the Rolling Stones concert film Let's Spend the Night Together, and the Eddie Murphy concert film Raw. It was also the location for a memorably funny scene from Rob Reiner's hit comedy When Harry Met Sally.
When did this happen?
Friday. Helen comes home from work and she says, I don't know if I want to be married anymore. Like it's the institution, you know, like it's nothing personal, just something she's been thinking about in a casual way. I'm calm. I say, why don't we take some time to think about it? You know, don't rush into anything.
Yeah, right.
Next day, she says she's thought about it, and she wants a trial separation. She just wants to try it, she says, but we can still date. Like this is supposed to cushion the blow. I mean, I got married so I could stop dating. So I don't see where we can still date as any big incentive, since the last thing you want to do is date your wife, who's supposed to love you. Which is what I'm saying to her when it occurs to me that maybe she doesn't. So I say to her, don't you love me anymore? Do you know what she says? I don't know if I've ever loved you.
Ooh, that's harsh. You don't bounce back from that right away.
But the most controversial film of the year, and one of the most popular, was Warner Brothers' Lean on Me. It's the fact-based story of Crazy Joe Clark and his efforts to clean up East Side High in Patterson. Morgan Freeman gives a strong performance as the bat and bullhorn-toting principal. Director John Avildsen shot the entire feature where it all happened.
Mr. Clark, I wanted to talk to you about those kids you brought yesterday.
What about them?
Well, I was one of them, but you made some kind of mistake.
Mistake?
Yes, sir. What are you doing? What's up here?
Go on, jump.
No, I don't want to jump.
Yes, you do. You smoke crack, don't you? You smoke crack, don't you? Look at me, boy. Don't you smoke crack?
Yes, sir.
You know what that does to you? Huh?
No, sir.
It kills your brain cells, son. It kills your brain cells. Now, when you're destroying your brain cells, you're doing the same thing as killing yourself. You're just doing it slower. Now, I say if you want to kill yourself, go in and do it expeditiously. Now, go in and jump. Jump!
No, I don't want to kill myself, sir.
You're quite sure about this, are you?
Yes, sir.
Accommodating a full-scale film crew at a maximum security prison is no easy matter. But in early 1989, the New Jersey Department of Corrections proved up to the task. And consequently, the Warner Brothers action drama Lockup was made almost entirely at East Jersey State Prison in Woodbridge. Sylvester Stallone and his co-stars spent many weeks behind bars, capturing the real flavor of prison life.
Got something to say?
The yard at East Jersey looks a little different now. That's because Stallone built a $40,000 running track on the site as a way of thanking prison officials and inmates for their cooperation. Newark City Hall, with its elegant and stately rotunda, is one of the most frequently filmed buildings in the state. It served as a primary location for Presumed Innocent, Alan Pakula's potent adaptation of the best-selling novel by Scott Turow. Harrison Ford plays a county prosecutor who suddenly has the tables turned on him.
What's this about?
It's about the fact that you were in Carolyn's apartment the night she was killed.
Bullshit. Barbara was at the university I was babysitting.
Rusty, for your own sake, keep your mouth shut. We've got the fingerprint results. The ones you could never remember to ask for. And they're your prints all over the bar glass. Yours, Rosette K. Savage.
This is absurd. My God, you're serious.
Savage! I want you to know one thing, Savage. I know.
Sure you do.
Go ahead, play cool. I know. You killed her. You're the guy.
Yeah, you're right. You're always right.
Woody Allen's love of Manhattan is matched only by director Spike Lee's affection for Brooklyn. But like Allen, Lee has ventured west of the Hudson on frequent occasions. In 1991, major portions of his epic biography, Malcolm X, were shot at the Wilsey Street Jail in Newark. The ultimate penitentiary set, this foreboding structure is so old that it once housed Civil War prisoners.
I see him. He about to bust. He not gonna bust. He wouldn't give him the pleasure.
Little!
State your number.
Little!
What? Give him a break, Barnes. He's a new fish. Okay, I'll give him a break. Now state your number, Little. I forgot it. State it. I forgot it. You can read it right there, boy. Did can't you read, boy? Yes or no? Teach you a lesson.
If you walked into Hudson County's Murdoch Hall in the summer of 1993, you would think you were in Manhattan's RCA building in the year 1959. This exquisite Art Deco structure was used to duplicate the offices of NBC Studios for Robert Redford's highly acclaimed drama, Quiz Show.
What if we were to put you on the show? Put you on 21 and ask you questions that you know. Say the questions that he answered correctly on the test this morning.
I don't follow you.
Just thinking out loud.
I thought the questions were in a bag fault.
In a way, they are.
You want to win, don't you?
Well, I think I'd really rather try to beat him honestly.
What's dishonest?
When Gregory Peck parachutes behind enemy lines, you think that's really Gregory Peck?
That book that Eisenhower wrote, a ghostwriter wrote it. Nobody cares.
It's not like we'd be giving you the answers. Just because we know, you still know.
Right. It's not like you're putting me on the show or Al and pretending to be some sort of intellectual. I mean, you have put in years of study and erudition.
I'm just trying to imagine what Kant would make of this.
I don't think he'd have a problem with it.
Think about what this could mean for the cause of education. 40 million people will watch you on 21.
It's not like anybody has to know, just us three.
Paramount Pictures' IQ is set in the world of high academia, with Albert Einstein as its central character. It could only have been made in his adopted hometown of Princeton, with its Gothic facades, stately trees, and ivy-covered walls. In the spring of 1994, Meg Ryan, Tim Robbins, and Walter Matthau spent several months filming this charming comic confection.
Oh, so you never went to college?
Well, I barely finished high school. I was always taking apart some car.
Well, yet you have such an amazing grasp of theory. Do you know, I believe that you used de Broglie's formula for the length of the pilot wave.
Of course he did. It was a brilliant stroke. Couldn't have done without it.
Ah! I forgot that. Wait a minute. Could you remind me?
Yeah, sure. X equals is 1 plus W. X plus 1 plus W cubed. In over pi.
Right, right. Can you invert that?
New Jersey has hosted more than 1,000 television series and specials, 2,000 commercials, and hundreds of music videos and industrials. Since the Film Commission's inaugural year,